Alright guys, welcome to your second Ionic tutorial in which we'll be setting it up, the Ionic framework with our project. So if we just look at the documentation, and yeah, one thing I have to tell you is that there's a sort of Ionic 2 as well available. So just like Ionic works with AngularJS, Ionic 2 works with Angular 2. Well, I do have tutorials for Angular 2 as well, and I could actually teach Ionic 2 as well. But for the series, I'm just gonna stick with Ionic 1 only. And it's not that Ionic 1 and Ionic 2 are pretty much same. They have differences, and yes, a lot of differences because of Angular 2. So we'll be covering Ionic 2 someday later on in a different playlist. But for Ionic 1, we are just gonna stick with it for this whole series and the Angular JS only. So you don't have to worry about that this is going outdated because it would be in support for a long time. So you can just stick with these tutorials and use Angular JS as well instead of Angular 2 for with Ionic 2. So now, starting off, first of all, we need to install some basic things. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I am in my working directory for KY tutorials and Ionic. You can just go ahead and on your desktop, you can just create a folder, Ionic Learning or something like that, and just open terminal right there. So make sure your terminal points there, and I'm just gonna copy and paste this line npm, yeah. And for this to work, first of all, what you have to do is just go to node.js.org and download Node. Just download this version or this version, and just just follow up with the setup instructions. Just click on next, and you'll be good to go. So once you're done with that, what you'll get is something known as a node package manager, the npm. And yeah, so once you're done installing Node, then just open your terminal and right click, and it would automatically come inside your terminal, and hit enter. Now once you hit enter, and this G flag just means that install this Cordova Ionic framework as a global framework. So this framework is not only just restricted to my this folder right there, the white slash Ionic, but this would be available for all of the projects, even if I create something outside this folder. So let it just complete itself. Now right here we see that Windows users, we strongly recommend to use Visual Studio. Well, I am not sort of, some people just like IDEs to code. I don't like IDEs, that's my personal opinion. But if you just find IDEs comfortable, like if you are just comfortable with Visual Studio, then you can go ahead and just follow along with these tutorials with Visual Studio actually as well. But the only difference would be like you would get some sort of more buttons and GUI tools to just test your application or just set up the things, and nothing else kind of. So we'll be just making use of the command line, and you'll be sort of just making use of buttons with Visual Studio. So it's really up to you if you want to just make use of the Visual Studio or this the command line stuff. Well, I find this command line um, better than the IDE one, because just kind of just makes sure that you learn everything, and you learn actually something new every time. So this is the Visual Studio tools, or for the Bash Cordova. So you can just make use of this as well if you like. Alright, so it might take a bit to download. So let's just see if this really, or I can just even pause the video for a while this is downloading. So yeah, so see you on the other end, buddies. Alright, so looks like it's sort of done. So let me just clear out the console. Here we go, nice and clean console. And the next thing we have is starting a project, right? So what I'm gonna say is Ionic start, and it says me my app. So what we named it, I guess we didn't name it at all for now. So this would be kind of my project name. So I'm gonna say start my app, hello world instead of my app. And the tabs is sort of your layout, the dummy one. So let's just say tabs and hit enter. It says me creating Ionic app in folder. So it's sort of downloading some stuff. And it's pretty much done. So I'm just gonna wait a sec more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. So it says me initializing the project, and I'm just waiting and waiting for it to complete. And here we go. So it says me create an Ionic account to send push notifications and use Ionic view. Well, that doesn't sound very bad, so let's just go with it. So it has opened a new window for me. So I'm just gonna wait for the login page. For now, it just got me back to my directory listing. So, well, okay, so let's perform a reload so that the page looks a bit better. So it is a sign up form. Well, why not just sign this up? mehulmpt gmail.com, and this is a secret. So now obviously the password wasn't this is a secret, so if you just might try it out. So okay, I'm just gonna leave this as it is. So I'm gonna try out now with uh, my application actually. So we had this one and this one. So now to start our application, let's just change the directory to hello world, and once you're inside it, write Ionic serve. Now what this is gonna do is it's gonna select an address for you, and it's gonna prompt it for your for on which address you want to launch your application, the local host one. So it's prompting me for 4 addresses, out of which 2 are for VMware, so I'm just gonna go with localhost, and you might as well. So this is the same URL I'm using right here. So I could probably just open this right here only. So if I just kind of shrink this down to a phone size, now you can see that it pretty much looks like as if you are working on a phone. So this looks like that you are kind of working on a phone. So this is a tabular interface which we just selected when we just created our application. We had a bunch of more options, I guess. For this was tabs one, then we had this side menu and the blank one as well. Well, we'll be taking a look at what this code is and how does it actually work like. So we have this index.html, and it is the same index which is displayed right here. So if I can just get to localhost 8100, this is the dashboard. So This is, as you can see, this is all sort of angular stuff going on here, and I guess I need to dig dip uh, that was a tongue twister sort of. So I need to dig a bit deep into this code, and we'll be discussing about how this code works sort of from the next tutorial onwards. So that's all for this one, and if you liked it, then don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.